Today's video, we're going to talk about customer lists on Google Ads and how to use them to make tons more money in your business. Now, you can make more money with Google Ads, of course, going after more new people that will buy your product or service, but you can make even more money going after people that have already bought before and actually marketing more stuff to them, of which I'm going to tell you how to do on this particular video. If you stay to the end of the video, I'll also tell you just how much you can make doing this, specifically in terms of ROAS, profit, and so forth, down to the specific number of return that we got for not one, not two, but 3 different clients where we're using these exact strategies I'm going to teach you on this video and used it for them, and that you can ultimately use for yourself. So stay tuned to the end of the video for the case study results on these customer list marketing systems that you can use with Google Ads to make more money with your ads. First off, when you're uploading your customer list to Google Ads, speed matters. So you absolutely, when you want to make the most money out of Google Ads, you want to get all your customer data into Google Ads so that Google Ads can utilize it to get you more customers. And there's multiple ways that Google does this, of course, which I'm going to talk about in just a second. But the key thing is you got to know to get it in there, first of all of it. Second of all, the speed in which you get it in there ultimately will affect how much money you're going to make as well. Okay, the quicker you get it in there, the more money you're going to make. So ideally, you would get it in real time, not uploading it manually when you get around to it or when you remember, but in real time using scripting of some sort. Now, there's software that specializes in getting customer data from your company into different ad platforms like Google Ads, so you can make all the extra money from your ads. So DriftRock is the one that I would recommend doing this with, but there's others. So, and I'm not getting paid by them or anything. That's just one example of a good or great software you can use to get customer data to Google Ads in real time. So as soon as somebody buys from your site, it immediately gets sent to Google. Okay. Now, obviously, in addition to this, you want to get your offline customers there as well. So if you run a brick and mortar motorcycle gear store, then you want to get all your data in your ad account so that you can steer your ads that way. And of course, at that point in time, you can also use scripting because you got your point of sale and you can hopefully, as a part of that information in there. But generally speaking, the customer data is so valuable, you want to offer a discount to your customers or an incentive of some type to get that customer data, which is why, by the way, when you go to the store, it has been for a good 25 years now, actually, that when you go to checkout, they ask you, would you like to be a part of the membership program here? And you give them their email, your phone number in terms of signing up, and you get a discount on your purchase. Now they have your customer data, and now you can use it to power your Google Ads campaigns a lot better than what you had otherwise if you didn't have their data, if you will. And of course, if they are giving it to you manually, you can have a software where the cashier automatically types it in on an online interface during the transaction. And by the time the customer walks out the door, the Google Ads campaign's got it and utilizing it already for your benefit. So there's a reason why these companies are willing to give you 5% off your sale or 10% or 15% just by giving you their information. And for that matter, you'd be better off raising your prices to be able to offer the discount in order to get the information, because it's that valuable and it's that important to get all the results from your Google Ads account. All right. Now here, once you got the data in the account and it's fast and you got all the data you can, here are the ways to make more money from your customer list. There's 5 different actual ways that you're going to make more money from your customer list once you got it in there. And starting with the machine learning that is going to happen at the account level once you got data in there. So ultimately, you upload your customer list, Google's system is going to look at all the correlation points between one customer in your list and another to identify the type of people that buy from your company as a whole. Are they old? Are they young? What websites do they go to? What do they buy? Do they go to your competitor sites typically before they buy from you? There's tens of thousands of data points that they store on their users so that when somebody buys and you give them your customer list, you are going to ultimately tell Google who that is, and they're going to look at the tens of thousands of traits that they store on that person, compare it to the other traits that the other people bought from you in the past have, and see if they can learn anything from it. And ultimately, if they track 100,000 traits on the US population, and they find these 5 things 90% of the time occur together, now in the future, when you run your next ad, they can decide to spend, have your bid be 10 times what it would be otherwise for the people that match those 5 traits, given they know the statistical likelihood of that being a customer for you is 10 times higher in that case. So you get more out of your market because Google understands who your customer actually is. That's the main primary way for you guys that are not, let's say, trying very hard to monetize your customer list, where you're going to get most of the value, honestly. But you also got, secondly, the signaling at the campaign level. So you could create different customer lists for different products and services that you sell, so that on a campaign level, you can add those lists there as an audience, and that in itself will steer that campaign on an individualized campaign level. So you got optimization going on at the account level, you got optimization going on at the campaign level. And on a PMax campaign, it's of course adding it as a signal. On a search campaign or display campaign, it means adding it as an audience. Or same thing with, like demand gen, you can add it as, there itself as an observance. But anyway, you get what I'm saying, and then for that matter, the more you segment your customer list, the better off you'll be, because then you can have custom customer lists set up for each campaign that you're running for the algorithm to use to see who your ad should ultimately show up for on a individualized campaign level / product / service level / category level. Because you could have, and that's, by the way, the way that you can do it. You can either have different lists for different products or different services, depending on what you sell, or you could do this on a category level. So anybody who buys fishing rods versus a certain brand of fishing rod, which could be one way you do it, or a certain rod itself is, you have an individual customer list. And the reason why this is important, because the algorithm that decides should your ad show up for somebody or not, it's going to learn quicker when you segment the lists out intelligently, because it just simply will be able to understand, certainly when you're talking about at a campaign level, the people who buy fishing rods, looking at the fishing rod list versus your overall customer list, they're not going to drive nearly as much from that overall list as they will from the fishing rod list for the campaign that promotes fishing rods. And so you can decide based upon your niche whether you're going to need to do this on a product level, a category level, a brand level. The more you segment, the better the machine learning is going to be on the campaign level itself. Bid adjustments. Okay, so in addition to what I said, you can use the audiences that you add to your campaigns to adjust your bids. If you're using manual bidding, if you're using smart bidding, it won't do anything naturally anymore. For that matter, so what you're going to do is you're going to mathematically calculate what it is that a person converts at that is on a customer list versus not. And then with that, you're going to add a bid adjustment to your audience. So, and you don't have to know this up front, but you add the audience as an observance. So your customer list gets added to your search campaign as an observance. Then you wait 6 months and you see how that customer list audience performs compared to people that are not on that audience list. And then you do what is called a bid adjustment, using a bid adjustment formula to decide what your bid should be above what your normal bid would be for that campaign if they're on your customer list itself, if you will. And then what that does is it makes it, moving forward, people that are on your list, if they come through, more likely to show up for your keywords because you're bidding higher for the people on that customer list. This is typically, by the way, what most people know about in terms of using customer lists to improve your results, what they typically know how to use it for or what to use it for. But arguably, it's one of the least out of the 5 ways here that you're going to use customer lists to make more money from your Google Ads account, the one that really makes you the least money, because the reason for that is because of smart bidding, you'll typically do more business with smart bidding than with manual bidding. So it's not really helpful to you to use manual bidding and then these bid adjustments on these different customer lists when you could just use smart bidding and you add the audience as an observant. That I know from personal experience, and that's how we set up all our campaigns. So you should know that as well. You also got upsell and cross-sell campaigns. So we're getting into the more sophisticated stuff. You should know that really helps to figure this out. What is the profitability of somebody who's bought before versus not bought? In terms of the advertising cost it takes to get them. And then if you're going to advertise to them again, what's it going to cost to get them to buy again versus finding a new person to buy? And a lot of people never really think about this, but that really puts into perspective how much effort you should be putting into advertising to people that already bought, or advertising to your house list, as we call it in the marketing space. So, because once somebody buys, they already know, like, and trust your company, hopefully. And so anything else that you're going to market to them, they're going to be able to, trust basically automatically. And therefore, you're going to have higher conversion rates, getting in front of a customer versus a non-customer. And so there's things open to you that you could do to somebody who buys before that you can't do with a non-buyer because it's just not going to be profitable, like such as display ads. Display ads won't work in front of a non-buyer, but when you get in front of people that buy, particularly which are called multi-buyers, or people that have bought more than once, your best customers, it's very profitable most of the time to get in front of those people with display ads because these people already like doing business with you. And now you just got to come up with another way to get them to buy. And you're just going to get creative. Maybe we're going to offer a customer appreciation sale and we'll give you that bonus. Or we had a new product, we have a new fishing rod that we would like to sell you. And we know you bought a fishing rod before, actually bought a couple of them. Here's another rod that you'd like to buy, given that people that buy 2 fishing rods are a hell of a lot more likely to buy 3 than somebody who's never bought one from you. So you can do upsells or cross sells. Upsells being that if somebody buys a service, if you will, more so with services instead of products here, you can get them to upgrade. So if they bought a tax service, you can get them to upgrade for, to help people file their taxes. You can upgrade them to tax services with tax consulting or with bookkeeping services now. And then that can be your upsell sequence, which we've done in the past. So that's upsell. Then a cross sell is just like I mentioned before. Hey, ultimately you like this fishing rod. There's another fishing rod that's really great that would be also great to use. Buy it. And then you have ads just for that. And then if they buy this item, they're going to see this item. If you buy this item, they're going to see an ad for this item. And then you get into these really sophisticated campaigns, which essentially are just milking your customer list and making the lifetime value of your customer twice or even more valuable than you would otherwise with these sophisticated cross-selling campaigns, which is, we've done this before. It actually can make your lifetime value of a customer over double what it would be before once you understand what I'm telling you and you understand how to do cross-selling with ads, specifically marketing to people who already bought. You got that. You also got resell campaigns. Somebody's bought, you can get them to buy again, if you will. So unlike the cross-selling or upselling, if you will, you're selling them the same exact thing again. So if somebody bought a package of golf balls, knowing that people lose golf balls, they hit them into the woods, they hit them into the water, you could sell that same exact package of golf balls to them with a resell campaign, 90 days after they bought the previous package of golf balls, and get them to buy them at a decently high rate because they like you, they know they like the golf balls, probably or hopefully, and get them to buy another package, knowing that at some point they're going to have to buy some again. It's a good deal. Or they may not need to buy again, but for me, like if I'm running a restaurant, I'm going to be marketing to my past customers more than anything else, by far. And so if they come in for a buffet, and I know that because I'm keeping tabs on my customers, and I'm incentivizing them to give me their data, and then when they come in and buy again, I'm going to mark down what they're buying roughly. I'm going to market our buffet again to them to keep them coming in and really just ratchet up the lifetime value of a customer or average customer that way. Ultimately, the name of the game in your business is how can you raise the value of a customer enough that basically any ads that you run will be profitable. That's what, and if you're not thinking that way, that's the way that you should be thinking. Because then advertising is easy. That's what the people that are really successful, what they're ultimately doing. Or to say they have more lifetime value from a customer than other people in their niche, so they win. So you're going to think long and hard about how to actually get people who buy to buy again. And a lot of it just simply comes down to segmenting your customer list, knowing who buys what, who then also buys again and for what reason, and then just getting in front of them again. All of which you can easily do with a Google Ads account. And while they browse online, on different websites, you can have banner ads show up for them, you can have YouTube ads show up for them, and then just keep ratcheting up the amount of money that people are spending once they've spent money with you already. And they already have their payment details saved on top of everything else, and it makes it a lot easier to get sales that way, ultimately, and scale. So anyway, rules to kind of like consider if you're going to actually do this, which you should, obviously, for your business. Number one is subscribers versus customers. I know this video is about customer lists, but along with uploading your customer list to Google Ads, you should also upload your subscriber list. Why? Because it'll be a lot easier to sell to someone who's a subscriber than not. Just like it's easier to sell to a subscriber over someone who came to your site for a couple minutes, and then of which is more likely to buy than somebody who got to your site for 30 seconds. And it just keeps going like that. But, you know, for that matter, subscriber lists are almost as valuable as the customer lists. So you want to upload that as well while you're at it. It's just some extra profit you're going to make. Single versus multi-buyer. So know that somebody who buys more than once from you is going to be easily 5 times more valuable than somebody who bought once. And somebody who bought from you versus not bought from you, another 25 times more valuable to you than somebody who didn't buy. So now you're talking about over 100 times more valuable people than the average Joe off the street. It gets pretty easy to monetize these people, get it in front of them when you have that kind of an advantage going for you right from the start. So what you should do is upload the single buyers versus the multi-buyers, and people that have bought more than once, to Google Ads, because Google Ads, the system is going to be able to utilize it better, understand that, hey, people on the multi-buyer list, the bid adjustment with those should be like 300% versus somebody who bought once, maybe it's only 150. But also, of course, when you're talking about your upsell and cross-selling campaigns, the multi-buyers is what I would focus on first and foremost, and generally only focus on. Because if somebody buys an item one-off from your site, that does not mean they're going to buy your other stuff from you. But once they buy multiple times, it's actually quite easy, because you know that not only they really like you, but these are people that like buying tons of shit from your market. And, you know, it just makes all the difference in whether you get a good return or great return from your ad spend getting in front of these people or not. Product/service/category level lists. I went over this earlier. You want to have different lists for different products/services and also different categories. Why? Because the algorithm's going to be able to utilize it. If you know there's a big difference between people that buy fishing rods versus fishing line, create 2 different lists so that the algorithm can look at them separately and study them separately. Can't add too many lists. So for the most part, if you want to get the most results out of Google Ads, upload a list for every category, every brand, and every product for the high volume products. You'll get the most results that way in general. Given that, one of the things, by the way, that makes PMax work so good for clients is because Google is utilizing all of the Google Analytics data, if you've got Google Analytics, to make the campaign run correctly, which is why you want to run Google Analytics with PMax and link your accounts together. But related to that, or pulling from that, your customer lists are going to be what makes your campaigns work so good, pulling in the stuff that's even offline, bringing it online, because of all the machine learning that's going to be involved with your campaigns. Once you have these product/service/category/brand related lists, it just gives the algorithm a lot more ammo to work with, so to say. Adding as audiences/levels. Again, you're going to take your audiences, add them to your customer lists, and you're going to add them to your audiences on your campaigns, because that's going to make the campaigns work better. And you want the audiences that you add to be related to the campaign and what you're trying to do with it. So this fishing rod campaign gets the fishing rod list, and then checking machine learning settings box in the account settings. under your Google Ads account settings as a whole, there's a checkbox in there that says, let Google utilize your customer list for machine learning purposes on your account. That should be selected by default, but you may want to double check it and make sure it is selected, because if it's not checked, you're not getting most of the value out of your list. And what I'm telling you here. So that's another thing to know as well. Now, I have some case studies here. The main thing you should know in regards to an upsell and cross-selling campaigns, there's two main ways to do it that we know works great at our firm. One of which is the quarterly discount campaign, also a customer appreciation campaign. So if people normally buy more than once at your business, or often we'll say, then you every quarter should be having banner ads and YouTube ads that run, and Facebook ads to go along with it, that say, hey, we're running a customer appreciation offer. We're offering 25% off for the next 7 days, and that'll suck and get a bunch more demand from your customers that you already had, ultimately. And to make this work better, you can do the sale tied to a holiday, so it sounds more exclusive. You also should do it based upon the product that they were looking at, if you want the most result out of it by far. So if they were looking at if they bought golf balls, we're offering a customer appreciation sale, 25% off all golf balls for St. Patrick's Day. That will get you a ton of action that you wouldn't have got otherwise. And you make a banner ad, whatever's on the banner ad, you put it on Facebook, the same thing, and you'll crush it. So that's what we use all the time. We also use ancillary item campaigns, so to say. So if somebody bought a summer dress for themselves recently, then we're going to have ads that show other summer dresses. We do this all the time as well, particularly for people that are our best customers. And we're going to really milk those best customers. If people market to customers, typically, they're just going to market to all their customers the same way. And that's not nearly as effective as marketing to customers based upon what you know about them, what they bought. So that, because, obviously it makes sense. If you market sweaters towards me, I don't buy sweaters. You're just wasting your time, wasting your money. And every time somebody sees an ad that is not relevant to them, it costs you money for them to have seen that ad. That's just how it works, because click-through rate's tied to cost per click. And so that's just the way that it is. But those are the other main type of campaigns that we run, and typically to multi-buyers, not single buyers, because once they're a multi-buyer, those lists are so lucrative. And when you pair it with items that are similar to what we know they like already, or just suggesting other ones to buy, it typically always works. So before we get into the case studies here, though, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, you should go ahead and do that. I've got the best information on YouTube about how to make money, lots of money with ads, coming from somebody who spends 40 hours a week doing ad strategy at our firm to give you the working knowledge about what works. I also got a great blog on my site at guaranteedppc.com/blog. The blog has even better information than what's on my channel, so you should definitely check that out as well. If you have any questions, by the way, about anything I'm covering here, leave me a question or comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a question or comment on this channel, typically within 24 hours. If you have any questions that you would like to, if you'd like to get on a call with me and do a coaching call, I also offer this as well to agency owners, individual companies. Reach out to me through my site at guaranteedppc.com. I'd be happy to set that up with you. I also do done for you services. If you just want somebody to set up your ads that really knows what they're doing, that's in the top 1% of knowledgeable people about setting up ads profitably, this is what we do. And we offer a guarantee for you on your campaigns. That is, if we don't get you a certain benchmark of results up front, we don't charge management fees. No other agency I still know of that does that, at least as an introductory offer, what they're offering at their firm. I also have templates available. If you are in a niche market that we've been in before, we can sell you the winning ads, landing pages, campaign templates that work for your market, and we'll give those to you. You copy paste those into your ad account, and you can get the same results we did with none of the hard work and heavy lifting that we had to do to get those results. So, and we've been in over 100 different niche markets. We have hundreds of templates. Let me know if you're interested in a template and what results we got in your market in another city or country. So getting back to the case studies here. Now, there's 3 case studies here that I mentioned that I was going to go through. Women's clothing, with a plus-size women's clothing brand that we worked with for quite a while before their internal PPC manager that they hired took it over. Now, what we did there was just kind of what I was implying earlier about multi-buyers. People that bought from their company multiple times, indicating that they're probably going to buy all their future clothes from them. And it's a market where people buy a lot of clothes. We marketed other similar categories of clothes that they bought. So if they bought a summer dress, we marketed other summer dresses to them. If they bought a sweater, we marketed other sweaters to them. And we did this regularly on a consistent basis. Also, there was, like I mentioned before, the key ingredient also to this is you offer a discount. It's not just, hey, look at the new summer dresses we have. We have summer dresses for sale for July summer sale, and we're offering them for 10% off, using code July10. And then that would get enough results to be profitable and greatly increase the lifetime value of a customer, to the point where both of these case studies here I'm going to share here increased the lifetime value of a customer by 2x once we got and really developed this all the way out. So, naturally it took hundreds of hours to build this out to where there's unique ad funnels for each category of product that we were having and getting everything dialed in. But that's the type of difference in lifetime value you can get from a customer once you do this, ultimately, so that the people that buy more than once, they're buying a lot of times from you, because you're always dangling in the next little carrot in front of them. We also had printing services. When you buy brochure printing, book printing, stuff like that, you typically need to buy it again as well. And so what we did there was we would go after people and say, we're offering a customer appreciation sale for July. Order now or by the end of July, we'll give you an extra 25% off your offer, or a similar percentage or lesser percentage. 25% is just a placeholder because we changed it depending on the situation, the day, whatever. Anyway, with that said, like clockwork, every time we would run those customer appreciation offers, the sales would just shoot up. And, you're basically, people, and you may say, well, they would have bought anyway. No, they wouldn't, because when people need to buy, they could potentially come back to us, or they can forget about who we are. Or maybe they're just going to type it into Google and find somebody else. That is the dumbest thing ever, that you could just assume people are just going to come back to you if they're going to buy again. Because people get poached all the time. You're going to get less than half of the orders than you would have got otherwise with a well-timed follow-up campaign where you have a customer appreciation offer every 90 days, so that even when the person's getting close to print again or get more printing done, they're going to buy it because they don't want to miss out on this customer appreciation offer where we're getting it 25% off. So there was another situation where that made the difference between the campaign making tons of money and basically breaking even. So there's so much competition in that space where you basically break even on the first purchase, and all the money is in how can you get these people to buy more and more and become big time customers to your business. So that's another example where our lifetime value of a customer doubled because the resell campaigns were on point. Okay. Now you may say, Corey, but you're talking about all these products. How is this even done for a service? Can this actually be done for a service? Yes, it can. You just have to get a bit more creative. Now, to give you an example of this, we had somebody who was a tax service, like a CPA firm that does taxes, bookkeeping, that kind of stuff. Typically, people will come in, they want their taxes done as the first point of contact, whereas the real money is in the ongoing outsourcing of all their tax needs. So your goal is to upsell them, cross-sell them, whatever. And so what we would do is if somebody came in and they say, yeah, I'll give you access to my QuickBooks, you can do the taxes that way. Because we know that they use QuickBooks, we would have a specialized ad that would show up saying, we offer QuickBooks management and consulting, and we're offering a special on it. It's only $99 a month for QuickBooks management if you sign up this month. And we would routinely get people to jump on that. It would just be basically running in the background. And of course, if they're using Cashew, which is another accounting program, it would say that there. And then for each program, we have a different ad sequence, but we would start out with the bookkeeping management. Then of course, if they do that, then we would have tax consulting as an offer behind that, if they bought that. And if they bought that, then we had outsourced CFO services if they bought that. So this is something that people typically don't think about. I mean, of course, it's great to have your salespeople, you tell them to upsell, cross-sell, and do all this stuff, but you don't even need a good salesperson working for you when you can just have your banner ads, the ads in general that you have set up to show up when they're supposed to show up, how they're supposed to show up, and it's all just done automatically. Always better to do something with scripting than use employees because they don't screw it up, right? So in that case, if you're wondering though how much this worked, we got roughly 5% of the people that came in for tax services to upgrade to the bookkeeping management, which frankly all that is they input their stuff into QuickBooks and we check it over periodically and make sure that it's in there right. There's nothing being input. And then now they have a residual extra $1,000+ a month for somebody that had to log in for 20 minutes a month roughly to make sure that everything is working like it was supposed to be and had been in the past. That's it, essentially. And then the people are really buying that, by the way, because they want somebody to ask when they have a question about QuickBooks, like, how do I do this? So you get occasionally calls like that. 5% upsell rate is super high off of an ad. In terms of the amount of people who bought the CPA services, 5% of them would upgrade. And we didn't really do any other promotion other than this ad to get them to upgrade. Of course, it comes up in conversation occasionally, but 5% of the people overall went to and did the software management once they became a tax client. Obviously being a business, of course, if they were a business. So anyway, with that said, that's a perfect example of how to do this for services. That wraps up everything I wanted to tell you about customer lists. There's a whole bunch of different ways you can use customer lists to make money, of which if you actually want to put the work in and extract the value in your market. So I'm going to wrap it up with that. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. If you want to see another video, click here. It is one of my best ones.